I'm excited, and I know that I've got a good team working for me. So we've got ecologists, we've got structural engineers, we've got people from a construction background. I've got my colleagues in my operation department who manage the day-to-day issues on the roads, and I think for me my role is just about bringing that expertise together and trusting those people to do the job, because they're all qualified professionals, and making sure that everything's delivered on time, it's delivered within the budget, and hopefully everybody's happy with the end result. So one of the big challenges at Testo's is that at the minute we're putting in a flyover so the A19 can continue free flowing without stopping at traffic lights at the roundabout. Because you've got quite a significant structure there, and there's no structure there at the minute, one of the key things is that the grounds settlement doesn't occur after the bridge is built. You can imagine if the ground starts to settle, that has serious implications on the structure. So the drilling that we've done, that will help to explain whether we need to install something such as band drains. What that does is it allows water to dissipate and the ground settles before you build on it, or whether we have to go for something like precast concrete piles, which is effectively kind of very long shafts of concrete piles which are drilled into the ground to some bedrock at quite a significant depth, and that again gives you the stability to put on that flyover structure. It's one of the risks you have to manage. There's always the caveat that ground conditions, there's always an element of uncertainty there. So it's not something that I see as a major risk, but the reason we go out and do the drilling logs is just to inform that risk really, so we know what we're getting ourselves into. You'll get improved journey times. I know one of the issues we have at the minute, if you travel north on the A1, turn off at the A19, you can travel for a number of miles without any kind of physical restriction, without any stop lines, and then you hit Testo's roundabout and you have to stop. So that can cause issues in terms of accidents, because people are used to travelling on 17, suddenly you hit traffic lights that are queuing. So by raising it up as a flyover, people who are travelling further north up towards the Tyne Tunnel will be able to continue free flowing. If you look at the kind of impact on journey times, for instance, we looked at what the impact on journey times would be for someone who's travelling from the site of the advanced manufacturing park, and at peak times, based on a future traffic flow looking projected to 2035, you could be looking, if you go from Downhill Lane through to Testo's and onto the A19, you're looking at journey time savings of approximately 5 minutes at a peak afternoon time, compared with if we didn't do anything. So people will feel the benefit. The key really is that at the minute the local traffic is at the roundabout, and it's almost competing with the A19 traffic. So in the future, that kind of conflict will be removed. Yeah. The key for me is to make sure that traffic keeps flowing as freely as possible. Particularly we know that Nissan use this route and they put a lot of traffic onto the road. So we're working with the likes of Nissan, with again the local authorities, to try and keep the traffic moving even during construction. I can't give a specific number, but for a £100 million plus scheme, which this is, it will create jobs. The scheme will create jobs, and if you look beyond the scheme, if you look at the long-term legacy of it, now we know that the International Advanced Manufacturing Park is looking to create in excess of 5,000 jobs, which will stay in the area, and Downhill Lane Junction will be the primary access. So by doing the work at Downhill Lane, how is England playing their part in creation of those 5,000 jobs that will be provided by the manufacturing park. There will be some loss, because effectively we've got the two link roads with the footprint of the A19 is increasing. There will be some loss, but what we're trying to do is we're trying to minimise that where possible. And again, we don't want that loss to be at the expense of long-term ecology impacts. So, you know, it's about looking at what we can do to mitigate that loss effectively, and that's what we're focusing on. You know, we are looking at, I know for instance, we're speaking to Boldon Lodge at the minute about we're going to provide them with a fence, and we're looking at working with them to try and determine if we need to allow, you know, a kind of gate at the bottom of the fence for, you know, things such as badgers, or, you know, again, it's very early stages, and we need to determine exactly what the presence of badgers are and if it is required. But that's an example of the kind of thing that may happen. I'm not saying it will, but it's a kind of consideration we will look at. Effectively, over the next 18 months for the Testos project, and a little bit longer than that for Downhill Lane, we're working on developing the detailed design. It's only really as you come to the end of that, before we start the actual physical construction works, that kind of information becomes known.